And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Always a busy week when you talk about Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, the outset of it. And of course, a lot of shows coming up here over the next 3 weeks before we take a Christmas break as of the end of December. And again, happy holidays to everybody out there if you're on the holiday break. Back here with a new set of shows here on the Backstage Pass powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. You can check the shows out, archived there, and presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out at bangtail.com, easyliquor.com, or Total Wine and Specs in your area. Get that holiday drink on. And, of course, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. And pleased to welcome back in here. It's a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show. As you can check us out at 10 Mountain Time on KKTC 99.9 True Country in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. Good friend of the show, a life well lived. And I tell you what, that message really sits in stronger than ever before. Daryl Mosley, back to the program. Daryl, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. It's good to be back with you.
It's good to be back. Always good to have a show face kind of return there too as well. Familiar face, I should say, return to the platform here. So let me ask you about it. I'm gonna get it off the books here and just get it out of the way. How was Thanksgiving at the Mosley household? What was the favorite foods? And I'm sure it's always a festive time, right?
Oh, we always have a good time, get the family together, and of course, my kids are grown and they're kind of scattered, but they were, my old daughter lives in Colorado, and the boys are in Tennessee, but they all came home, so I had everybody under the same roof for the weekend, which was good. And we eat, of course, all the traditional Thanksgiving foods, but as from the time that I was a kid, my mom would make what we affectionately call ketchup spaghetti. And spaghetti was hamburger meat and ketchup. And I grew up on it and we loved it. My kids grew up on it. They loved it. Now the grandkids are, I mean, that's, we can't have a family get together without that. That's kind of the signature dish, as ridiculous as it sounds.
I've never heard that first time somebody said here on the show. They've had ketchup spaghetti here. I mean, I'm not going to knock it till I try that
Man, I'm
too.
telling
But
you better get the first round because it'll be gone for the second round.
second round. Give it a try. Hey, let's talk about the new album out there. Tell us all about it too, because it's 11 great songs that came out back in July of this year. And I know I've been busy trying to schedule these things, get you guys on to talk about it too, which is crazy with this brand taking off the way it has now, being syndicated too at the same time. But y'all have got a lot of great songs in there, a little bit of something for everybody. Country, bluegrass mixed. How excited are you to get this music into your fans' hands?
It's been really good. It's been really well received. We've already had a couple of number ones off the album. The video's done great for the Mayberry song. Of course, the album, I think it got as high on the charts as number two, which that's really, we're really tickled with that. And this was the third album that I've done in about 3 albums in 4 years. That was a lot, but it's just done really well. We're really excited about it.
When you look at a title track of it, "A Life Well Lived" too, great way to kind of start the album and put that out there to transition. Great lead off song for an album, almost as good as a lead off hitter is in baseball. But y'all have done really well with this particular song, and give us a little backstory of kind of where this came from and kind of the thought idea behind this tune.
Yeah, I write a little bit with a great writer, Rick Lang, and Rick and I told him I read this thing online, and it was basically this little meme that said if you get advice from some old guy cutting up an apple and eating the slices off the blade, you should probably take that advice. And I laughed about that because I know old guys like that, and so we just kind of wrote the song around some of the sage advice that we've been given over the years, and and so we kind of built the song around that idea.
I like that too. Like you said, a little bit of a piece of everything, slice of anything, any food group out there. You might want to take that down and do that too. Hey, going down through the album, I love the one that was the Bible in the drawer, which I thought was another one that, man, it just makes you think about life as it is, how short it is, and just how much you got to live by the good book and things like that. And set a good example for everybody out there. That one, I guess, did that one kind of come easy to y'all as far as the writing goes? Because there were some really, really great lyrics that connected real well with people.
Yeah, I wrote that one. Actually, I wrote that one by myself, and it just came from. I've always loved songs that are written from the perspective of something that can't really tell its own story. You know, there was a great song in country music a few years ago called "This Old House." I think Fred Noblock and maybe Craig Bighart, I can't remember now, wrote it. But it's being, the story is being told from the position of this house, talking about all the years it took care of some land. You know, Guy Clark had a great song called "Indian Head Penny." That's the story of that penny. And so I wanted to write this song from the position of one of those many, you know, Gideon Bibles that we find in the, you know, in the hotel rooms. Cause I mean, I spend a lot of time in hotels anyway. And so that's kind of where the song came from. Just this month, the Gideons International have written about it in their magazine. It just came out. So I've been getting lots of emails and phone calls from Gideons around the country talking about the song. So I'm happy that it's resonated with people.
It's good, man. We got good lyrics that connect us the way a song is supposed to do what it's supposed to do here, no doubt, too. I know you got the guitar on standby. We're going to take a break, come back, have you play one for us right here on the show. If you want to, we definitely can do that here on the Backstage Pass. So again, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com and, of course, KKTC 99.9. True Country, the LMNOC streaming app is out there, too, at 10 Mountain Time up in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. You can catch the show out there, syndication. Very, very well received so far, and excited to bring in that new partnership into 2024. You can also catch us streaming at hightidecountry.net, and, of course, out there, the website, the Sports Guys podcast.com. Coming back, a couple of songs here performed by Daryl on the Backstage Pass. Appreciate you guys listening. Stay tuned for a lot more coming right back. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back here on the show, KKTC 99.9, pure country and true country out there too, up in Pueblo, Colorado, Taos, New Mexico, the true country station out there that leads in country music, playing it out there. And of course, our friends at hightidecountry.net. And powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, and of course, honkytonktexas.us. So back here, Daryl Mosley on the show. Daryl, I'll tell you what, take it away. And first song up, what are we going to hear?
We'll do the title track. This is the title of the album. It's called A Life Well Lived.
Here we go.
He was peeling an apple, sitting in the shade, eating those green slices right off the blade. Grandpa was what you might say a quiet man, but there was so much wisdom neath that farmer's tan. I said, I want to be just like you when I'm grown. He handed me an apple, said, this is all I know. Choose the road less traveled every time you can. Try to find the good things in your fellow man. Never hesitate to stand up for the weak. And the bigger man's the one who turns the other cheek. If you can say I'm sorry and learn how to forgive, well, then you've had a life well lived. Wealth is not determined by what you possess. You know a dollar bill won't buy you happiness. Take time to show others just how much you care. 'Cause love is something you have plenty of to share. No one else can tell you what your life is worth. Just thank God for the blessings of each day upon the earth. And choose the road less traveled every time you can. Try to find the good things in your fellow man. Never hesitate to stand up for the weak, and the bigger man's the one who turns the other cheek. If you can say I'm sorry and learn how to forgive, well then you've had a life well lived. Oh, if you can make each moment count and give more than you get, then you can turn the page with no regret. Choose the road less traveled every time you can. Try to find the good things in your fellow man. Never hesitate to stand up for the weak, and the bigger man's the one who turns the other cheek. If you can say I'm sorry and learn how to forgive, but then you've had a life well lived. But then you've had a life well lived.
And back here on the show, the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguidespodcast.com and out there at KKTC True Country 99.9, Taos, New Mexico, and up into Pueblo, Colorado. Daryl Mosley, A Life Well Lived, title track of the very record that's out there across all the digital platforms. Thanks to our friends at Honky Tonk Texas and Bangtail Whiskey, too. You know, I noticed you did a song called Big God on the record. Ronnie Booth, you got to feature him in that song. Talk about just the collaborations and how things like that, Daryl, kind of come together, and it's really special in the industry when you can put an artist such as yourself with an artist such as good as a Ronnie Booth.
Well, you know, I got to know Ronnie a number of years ago. I wrote a song called Ask the Blind Man He Saw It All that was a big hit in Southern gospel. It won Song of the Year and that sort of thing. The Booth brothers recorded it when Ronnie was still touring with them. And so I got to know Ronnie a little bit back then. And so I'd written this song, Rick and I wrote this song, Big God, it had kind of a Southern gospel vibe to it. And I just thought it would be fun to have Ronnie come and sing on it. And, you know, just to kind of bring a little bit of that Southern gospel feel to it. And you know, he was so gracious, came in and we had the best day. And it turned out to be the first #1 off the record.
You know, it's such a great album. Like I said, there's a little bit of something for everybody on there too. And I think we probably talked about this song a while back too, but this one was awesome because it talks about back when we were boys. And that's a second track off of there too. It's got some great writing in there, some also lyrics that really connect and tell stories with people very well, Daryl. I love that song.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm obviously I love story songs. I write primarily story songs, but a lot of mornings I'll go down to the cafe here in town and sit at the table with some of the retired guys, and you know, these guys are about a generation older than me, but they got the best stories, you know, and talk about, you know, so I love to kind of prod them along and get them to tell stories about growing up around here, and so that song was kind of just a compilation of some of the little stories they'd shared, some of the pictures that they had painted for me over the years, and it's one of those I sing live, and you know, you can see some of those older guys, you know, trying to hide, brushing away those tears. You know, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, and off that record too, there's another one that I thought was a favorite of mine, stuck out. We need more of that, which definitely a lot of people can say in this world too when it comes to, you know, the concept of more of that too. But definitely, as I was talking to somebody the other day, I was like, you know, this world is kind of full of blank, and you can insert there whatever you want to insert there too. But the world needs more of just love and just devotion, kind of good things happening to it too. Because every time you turn it, I don't watch the news anymore, but you tune into it, something negative's happening. I'm like, nope. Shove that away too. But there's just a song I could connect with too, based on the title of that one.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, that's about as, I guess, about as political as I get, you know, in recording. But you know, I grew up in a world where, you know, you held doors for people, and you know, you took your hat off, you know, when you sat down at the table, and you know, you pulled over to the side of the road when a funeral went by, and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And those were signs of respect, you know, and I miss that. You know, if there's one thing that I think we lack now more than ever, it's just basic common respect for other people. And so that's kind of what that song is about. That I miss those days of sir and ma'am and just
Mhm.
common respect.
And another one off there again. We're talking about the record, "A Life Well Lived" from Daryl Mosley, out there again, available across all the digital platforms too. I love the Mayberry "State of Mind." Tell us about that one.
Well, most of us that live in small towns, that's the kind of how we describe it. That it's a Mayberry kind of place, and this little town is certainly that. Everybody knows everybody, and I mean, I tell a story on stage, and this absolutely happened. The county sheriff is a great guy. He's a friend of mine, and I was standing talking with him one day, and just cutting, shooting a breeze, and we saw one of the high school kids just go flying by in his pickup truck. The sheriff did not go give him a ticket. He called his mama. And I thought, well, only in a town will you get that, and so that's kind of what that whole Mayberry state of mind is. That small town loving each other, taking care of each other, all of that. It's not just a place. It's not just a TV show. It really is a mindset on how you
Mhm.
live.
Yeah, I tell you, I love the title of this one at the bottom of it too. And I know with every good title of a song, there's got to be a good story behind it too. But Hillbilly Graham. So I gotta ask you about this because I'm sure there's a good story for this one, right?
I actually, a friend actually was a master of mine, and that's kind of his nickname. And I don't know if he gave it to himself or somebody else gave it to him, but the first time I heard it, I thought, man, that's just too rich. I've just got to write that. And so wrote that a few years ago, and it's like I said, it's a more of a Tom T. Hall type of story song, and it kind of tells the story along the way. Yeah, and Tom T got to hear the song, not too long before he passed away, and
Mhm.
had some really nice things to say about that, which meant a lot to me because he was the master of writing story songs, and so it's because it is kind of tongue in cheek and it's got a little twist at the end, and something that obviously is inspired by the way he wrote, so that meant a lot to me.
A lot of great songs, a lot of great stories on it. Again, "A Life Well Lived" from Daryl Mosley, out there across all those digital platforms. We got to take a time out here on the Backstage Pass. Daryl's got one more performance for us here on the show. We'll come back with him on that too. A word from our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, Honky Tonk Texas. Again, check us out. Syndication out there, 10 Mountain Time on KKTC 99.9. True Country out there in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. And, of course, out there you can check us out at hightidecountry.net. And powered by the sportsguys podcast.com. Presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. More with country superstar Daryl Mosley here on the show. Hang tight. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguys podcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguys podcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back here with Daryl Mosley, KKTC 99.9, True Country, LMNOC streaming app out there too, 10 Mountain Time. Catch the show out there. And, of course, any of the shows coming up over the holidays, over the next couple of days, Alex Miller, Mia Brown, group called Gold Pine, and, of course, Charlotte Morris, Mike Meyerson from the group Heartland, and a whole lot more coming up over the next few weeks here on the Backstage Pass. Again, powered by the sportsguys podcast.com and presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. Back here with Daryl Mosley, again, the song "A Life Well Lived." It's the album out there across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go check it out if you've not already. I know there's a second song in there. Anything you sing to us, to me at least, is butter. I love it out there too because I love your vocals, and got to see you in Nashville there over the past couple of years, Daryl, at the CRS. Good to meet you. And what's up next? I always ask that question. What song's coming up?
It's a song called "Walking Man." There was a gentleman in my town, John L. Mays, when I was a kid. He was a black man, autistic, but walked every day and would walk and visit the nursing home and and the hospital folks who were in the hospital, and who attended the funerals of just about everybody that passed away in our community for many years. But for people that didn't know him personally, they would just call him the Walking Man. And so that's kind of the inspiration behind this song.
There we go.
You could find him every morning on the sidewalks of our town. Rain or shine, it didn't matter. Mr. John would make his rounds. He'd be visiting the shut-ins and the county nursing home. He attended every funeral, paid respects to those gone on. One foot and then the other, step by step he stayed the course, thinking only about others, listening to the master's voice, moving with a purpose, faithful to the plan, and focused on the mighty task at hand. He was a walking man. From Atlanta down to Selma and the streets of Montgomery, he would walk demanding that all men be treated equally. They gathered like a storm cloud and rained down on D.C., brought change to a nation with a walking preacher's dream. One foot and then the other, step by step he stayed the course, thinking only about others, listening to the master's voice, moving with a purpose and faithful to the plan, and focused on the mighty task at hand. He was a walking man. But there are some who'll take a side and some who'll take a stand, but few will take the steps required to help their fellow man. We're a world in need of more like Mr. John and Dr. King, and the one who took that long walk up a hill called Calvary. First one foot and then the other, step by step he stayed the course, thinking only about others, listening to the master's voice, moving with a purpose, faithful to the plan, and focused on the mighty task at hand. He was a walking man. Oh, I want to be a walking man.
And there it is, Walking Man from Daryl Mosley here on the Backstage Pass, again powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, and of course out there too, KKTC 99.9 True Country in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado, and out there too at HighTideCountry.net, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and of course Honky Tonk Texas. Walking Man from the again, album out there, A Life Well Lived, across all the digital platforms wherever you stream or download music. Well, I got to do rapid fire with you, Daryl, because this is always fun to just change up a few things. You never know what you're going to get here too, and sometimes it's not so rapid. It does take a little bit of thought out there too. So when it comes to Christmas and the holidays, what are some of the plans, the get-togethers? Where are you headed to? Staying right there in Tennessee, or going somewhere else?
No, staying in Tennessee. All my family's, other than the kids, everybody's pretty much here. So we'll do Christmas Eve here, and then Christmas Day at my mom's house, and probably more ketchup spaghetti. So, that's what I expect.
Hey, you gotta love that too. And like I said, I'm gonna have to try that too when I get back to Nashville. If I get to the Omni, you're gonna have to bring that a taste of that to the event coming up there.
Man, I'll have mom fix you some. I have mom fix you some personal. How about that?
I like that, dude. If she doesn't mind, because we'll do a taste test live on the air with everybody that walks in behind the curtain there too during the live broadcast out there too. All right, this may take some thought. It may not. First time you ever stepped on stage, took a microphone. What was the song that came out? Was it a cover? Was it an original write? What song was it? And I guess the title of it.
Probably the first time I ever sang in front of anybody was at church. So it would have, it
Mhm.
would have been a gospel song. I don't remember which one because I was singing with my mom played guitar a little bit, so I was singing with her up in front of church when I was a little bitty. So it's too far gone to remember what song it was. But I'm sure that's where it was. So I'm sure that's what it would have been.
I like that too. All right, when it comes to pizza, what toppings go on a Daryl Mosley pizza?
I'm pretty easy going, but if I'm gonna pick, it's gonna be sausage and mushroom. Those are my
Mhm.
favorites. So
All right. Two things that mix
as long as
well
I've got
together
that in
too.
mind.
Favorite movie of all time for Daryl?
Whew, boy, that's hard. I love from here, the original with Burt Lancaster and Frank Sinatra. This
Mhm,
time of year, it's not Christmas for me unless I watch White Christmas.
mhm.
I love the old movies anyway, so I got to watch some Christmas before it's over with.
I like that. Those holiday favorites are National Lampoons, and some of the other ones are Home Alones, and of course that one right there, White Christmas. They're all back there at this time too. I love it. All right, you've accomplished so much in your career, but is there one thing that you haven't done that's kind of a bucket list item, or maybe a stage that you want to step on?
I guess not that I'm thinking of that. I mean, I haven't. I mean, of course, I'd love to, play some of the places in New York. I still enjoy playing the Opry. I had a chance to do it as much as I did years ago, but uh, you know, getting a chance to be on that stage is always extra special. So more than anything else for me, it's always been about being able to stand in that circle at the Opry.
That's the pinnacle of country music out there, my friend. And when you get to do that, I got to go there for the first time this past March and see some performances there. And that is a place that will take you on a ride. And when you walk out, you'll have a tale or two to tell yourself too, and some stories of what people captured that night too. So if people hadn't been to see the greatest show in country music, that is something that has got to be on somebody's bucket list out there too. Well, Daryl, I appreciate the time as always. A life well lived across all the digital platforms. Always a great favorite here on the Backstage Pass, buddy. Always good to catch up. Best of luck. Happy holidays and happy New Year coming up. I know we're going to cross paths again going into 2024. Appreciate you always being on.
And I always appreciate you having me. I look forward to that. And like the next time you're down here in Nashville, we'll do the taste test. That'll be fun.
It'll be the end of February, the last 2 days of February, the first day of March for CRS 2024. Hopefully, get back there and we'll do the ketchup spaghetti taste live on the air at the Omni Hotel. And I will take a bite. Kirsty, I'm sure will take a bite too, and we'll have fun doing that at Country Radio Seminar 2024. Make sure you guys go download the album again. Thanks to our sponsors. Bangtail Whiskey out there, drink for the holidays, bangtail.com, or of course, easyliquor.com, or pick it up at your local Total Wine and Specs, and of course, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. Again, thanks to Daryl, and of course, everybody out there. Happy holidays. A life well lived across all those digital platforms. And again, catch the replays of the shows out there, KKTC, True Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico up there, and hightidecountry.net. We're powered by the Sports Guys, podcast.com. We'll see you soon on the flip side. Until then, have a great night.